In a small, quiet town surrounded by green fields and tall trees, there was a middle school where everyone knew each other. The hallways buzzed with laughter during breaks. The cafeteria smelled of warm pizza on Fridays, and students often gathered in groups to talk about their weekend plans. Among these students was an 11-year-old girl named Maya. She wasn't the tallest, the loudest, or even the most popular kid in her class, but she had something special that made her stand out: her love for music. Maya had been playing the piano since she was 6 years old. Her grandmother, who lived with her family, had taught her the basics when she was little. At first, it was just a fun way to pass the time, but as Maya grew older, her passion for the piano deepened. Every evening after finishing her homework, she would sit at the old upright piano in the corner of their living room. Her fingers moved across the keys like they were dancing, creating melodies that filled the house. Sometimes her younger brother complained about the noise, but her parents always smiled, proud of how hard she worked. At school, however, things weren't as easy for Maya. Being one of the few black students in her grade, she often felt like she didn't quite fit in. Some kids teased her for her curly hair or the colorful headband she wore. Others whispered jokes behind her back, making her feel invisible. But Maya tried not to let it bother her too much. Instead, she poured all her energy into practicing the piano, dreaming of the day when people would see her for who she really was: someone talented, determined, and full of potential. One chilly Monday morning, the principal of the school, Mr. Thompson, made an announcement over the intercom. His voice boomed through the speakers, cutting through the chatter in the classrooms. "Attention students," he began. "This Friday we will hold our annual school assembly. As part of the program, we are looking for someone to perform a musical piece on the piano. If you think you're up for the challenge, please speak to me by the end of the day." The news spread quickly throughout the school. Students whispered excitedly in the hallways, wondering who would take the stage. Many immediately thought of Maya. After all, everyone had heard rumors about how good she was at playing the piano. Some kids even joked that she practiced so much, her fingers probably never left the keys. But despite the talk, Maya hesitated. She wasn't sure if she wanted to volunteer, not because she lacked confidence in her skills, but because she feared what others might say if she failed. Later that afternoon, Maya mustered the courage to visit Mr. Thompson's office. She knocked softly on the door and entered when he called her in. "Yes, Maya?" he asked, looking up from a stack of papers on his desk. His tone was polite, but his expression was unreadable. "I'd like to play the piano at the assembly," she said, her voice steady despite the butterflies in her stomach. Mr. Thompson raised an eyebrow, leaning back in his chair. For a moment, he studied her face as if trying to decide whether she was serious. Then, to Maya's surprise, he chuckled lightly. "You?" he asked, almost incredulously. "Well, I suppose we can give it a try. It'll add some humor to the event." The words hit Maya like a punch to the chest, but she forced herself to nod and thank him before leaving the room. As she walked back to her classroom, Maya replayed his comment in her mind. Humor? Did he really think her wanting to play the piano was funny? Was he mocking her because of her race, her background, or simply because he doubted her abilities? Whatever the reason, Maya felt a fire ignite inside her. She wasn't going to let his words stop her. In fact, she decided right then and there that she would work harder than ever to prove him wrong. That evening, Maya sat down at the piano with renewed determination. She chose a challenging classical piece, one that required speed, precision, and emotion. Her hands flew across the keys as she practiced late into the night, pausing only to stretch her sore fingers. When her mom peeked into the living room and saw her still playing, she gently reminded her to get some rest. "You don't have to push yourself this hard, sweetheart," she said. "Yes, I do," Maya replied firmly. "I have something to prove. To him, to everyone." By Thursday, Maya could play the piece flawlessly. Her heart raced with excitement and nerves as she imagined stepping onto the stage the next day. Would the audience laugh like Mr. Thompson seemed to expect? Or would they be amazed by what she could do? Either way, Maya knew one thing for certain. No matter what happened, she wouldn't let anyone's opinion define her worth. On Friday morning, The entire school gathered in the auditorium for the assembly. Teachers ushered students to their renar seats while parents filed in to watch the performances. Backstage, Maya paced nervously, clutching the sheet music in her hands. She could hear snippets of conversations from the crowd. Some kids were giggling, probably already expecting her performance to flop. But Maya blocked out the noise, focusing instead on the rhythm of her breathing and the memory of every note she had practiced. Finally, the moment arrived. The MC announced her name and Maya stepped onto the stage. The bright lights blinded her for a second, but as soon as her fingers touched the piano keys, everything else faded away. She closed her eyes, letting the music flow through her. The notes soared and dipped, weaving together a melody that captivated the entire room. Gasps rippled through the audience as they realized just how talented she truly was. When the final chord echoed through the auditorium, silence hung in the air for a brief moment. Then the crowd erupted into applause. People stood up, clapping wildly, their faces glowing with admiration. Even Mr. Thompson, sitting in the front row, looked stunned. For the first time, Maya felt seen. Not as a joke, but as the gifted musician she had always known she was. Backstage, Maya was swarmed by classmates congratulating her. "That was incredible," one boy exclaimed. "I didn't know you were that good." Another girl hugged her tightly, saying, "You made me cry. It was so beautiful." Through it all, Maya couldn't stop smiling. She had done it. She had proven them all wrong, and more importantly, she had stayed true to herself. But the story didn't end there. What happened next would change Maya's life forever, turning her into a symbol of perseverance and inspiration for everyone around her. The applause in the auditorium seemed endless, but for Maya, it felt like time had stopped. As she stood on stage, bowing shyly to the cheering crowd, her heart swelled with a mix of emotions: pride, relief, and disbelief. She had imagined this moment countless times while practicing at home, but nothing could have prepared her for the overwhelming response from her peers and teachers. For once, she wasn't invisible. Everyone was looking at her, not with judgment or doubt, but with admiration. Backstage, Maya was surrounded by classmates who couldn't stop talking about her performance. Some patted her on the back, others asked how long she'd been playing, and a few even begged her to teach them. It was strange yet exhilarating to be the center of attention in such a positive way. But as the initial excitement began to settle, Maya noticed something unusual. Mr. Thompson, the principal, hadn't joined the crowd backstage. Instead, he remained seated in the front row, staring straight ahead as if lost in thought. Later, that afternoon, Maya received an unexpected summons to Mr. Thompson's office. Her stomach churned with anxiety as she walked down the empty hallway. Had she done something wrong? Was he going to scold her for proving him wrong? When she entered his office, however, she found him sitting behind his desk, his expression unusually serious. "Maya," he began, clearing his throat, "I owe you an apology." The words caught her off guard. She blinked, unsure if she had heard him correctly. "What I said to you earlier this week, it was disrespectful. I underestimated you, and I'm sorry." He paused, then added, "Your talent is extraordinary, and I should have recognized that from the start." Maya didn't know what to say. Part of her wanted to stay silent, letting his apology hang in the air as punishment for doubting her. But another part of her, the kinder, more forgiving side, understood that everyone made mistakes. So, after a brief pause, she simply nodded and replied, "Thank you, Mr. Thompson, I appreciate your apology." Though the interaction was short, it left a lasting impression on both of them. For Mr. Thompson, it was a wake-up call, a reminder to never judge someone based on appearances or assumptions. And for Maya, it reinforced the importance of staying true to herself no matter how others perceived her. Word of Maya's incredible performance quickly spread beyond the school walls. By Monday morning, everyone in town seemed to know about the girl who silenced the skeptics. Parents whispered about her during carpool lines, local shopkeepers mentioned her name over coffee, and even strangers approached her family at ICO, the grocery store, to congratulate them. A reporter from the town's small newspaper came to interview Maya, asking questions about her journey with music and how she felt about her newfound fame. "I just love playing the piano," Maya told the reporter earnestly. "It makes me happy, and if my music can make other people happy too, then that's all I really want." The article appeared in the next edition of the paper, accompanied by a photo of Maya sitting at the piano. The headline read, "Young Prodigy Shatters Doubts with Stunning Performance." Overnight, Maya became a local celebrity. Neighbors waved at her when she passed by, kids in her class treated her with newfound respect, and invitations poured in from community centers, requesting performances to music schools offering scholarships. Despite the sudden attention, Maya stayed humble. She continued attending school like any other student, though now she often found herself stopping to sign autographs, or at least scribble her name, for younger children who looked up to her. Her parents were careful to remind her not to let the praise go to her head. "Remember why you started playing," her mom would say. "Not for applause, but because it's your passion." But fame, even on a small scale, came with its own set of challenges. Not everyone was thrilled about Maya's success. Some students grew jealous, whispering behind her back and spreading rumors. "She only got famous because of that assembly," one girl muttered in the cafeteria. "If it weren't for Mr. Thompson calling her out, no one would care about her." Others accused her of getting opportunities simply because of the attention her story had garnered. At first, these comments stung. Maya tried to ignore them, but they lingered in her mind, planting seeds of self-doubt. Was she really as talented as people claimed, or was she just lucky? One particularly difficult day, she confided in her best friend Sarah during recess. "I don't know why they're being so mean," Maya admitted, her voice trembling. "I didn't ask for any of this." Sarah put an arm around her shoulder. "They're just jealous," she said firmly. "You worked hard for this, Maya. Don't let anyone take that away from you." Her words helped, but Maya still struggled to shake off the negativity. That's when she decided to channel her energy into something meaningful. Inspired by her grandmother's belief in giving back, Maya started offering free piano lessons to younger kids in her neighborhood, many of whom couldn't afford formal music education. Every Saturday morning, her living room transformed into a mini classroom, filled with giggling children eager to learn. Teaching turned out to be incredibly rewarding. Watching her students' faces light up as they mastered their first song reminded Maya why she loved music so much. It wasn't just about performing. It was about sharing joy and inspiring others to believe in themselves. Through teaching, Maya discovered a deeper purpose behind her talent, one that went beyond personal success. As weeks turned into months, Maya's reputation continued to grow. One day, she received a letter from a prestigious music academy in the city. They had seen the newspaper article and were impressed by her skills. Would she consider auditioning for their advanced program? The invitation thrilled Maya, but it also terrified her. Could she compete with students who had years of professional training? What if she failed? Her parents encouraged her to try. "You'll never know unless you give it a shot," her dad said. With their support, Maya prepared tirelessly for the audition. She practiced late into the night, fine-tuning every note and perfecting every technique. On the day of the audition, she arrived at the academy feeling nervous but determined. When her turn came, Maya stepped onto the stage and took a deep breath. As her fingers danced across the keys, she forgot about the judges watching her and focused solely on the music. When she finished, the room fell silent for a moment before erupting into applause. One of the judges smiled warmly and said, "That was breathtaking. Thank you for sharing your gift with us." A few weeks later, Maya received the acceptance letter. She was officially invited to join the Academy's elite program, a dream come true. Overwhelmed with gratitude, she hugged her family tightly, tears streaming down her face. This was proof that her hard work and perseverance had paid off. Looking back, Maya realized how far she had come since that fateful day in the principal's office. From being dismissed as a joke to earning recognition as a prodigy, her journey had been anything but easy. But through it all, she had learned valuable lessons about resilience, self-belief, and the power of staying true to oneself. Little did she know this was only the beginning of an extraordinary adventure, one that would inspire countless others along the way. Maya's acceptance into the prestigious music academy marked a turning point in her life. For the first time, she found herself surrounded by peers who shared her passion for music. The academy was located in a bustling city, far from the quiet charm of her hometown. Towering buildings loomed overhead and the streets buzzed with the sound of honking cars and hurried footsteps. Everything about the place felt different, faster, louder, and more competitive. But Maya was ready to embrace the challenge. On her first day at the academy, Maya stepped into a grand hall filled with pianos arranged in neat rows. Students of all ages sat at the instruments, their fingers flying across the keys as they practiced complex pieces. Some wore formal attire, while others dressed casually, but everyone exuded confidence. Maya felt a pang of nervousness as she clutched her sheet music tightly. Would she fit in here? Could she keep up with these talented musicians? Her instructor, Ms. Patel, greeted her warmly. A renowned pianist with years of experience, Ms. Patel had a reputation for being both strict and encouraging. "Welcome, Maya," she said, shaking her hand firmly. "I've heard great things about you. Let's see what you're capable of." Maya nodded, taking a deep breath before sitting at the piano. Her heart pounded as she began to play, her fingers moving quickly over the keys. She chose one of her favorite pieces, a challenging sonata that required precision and emotion. As the notes filled the room, she forgot about her nerves and focused solely on the music. When she finished, Ms. Patel smiled approvingly. "That was impressive," she said. "You have raw talent, Maya, but there's still much to learn. Are you willing to work hard?" "Yes," Maya replied without hesitation. "I want to become the best I can be." Life at the academy was demanding. Classes started early in the morning and often stretched late into the evening. Maya spent hours each day practicing scales, studying theory, and learning new techniques. Her hands ached from pressing the keys repeatedly, and her mind grew weary from memorizing complicated compositions. But despite the exhaustion, she loved every moment of it. Each lesson brought her closer to mastering her craft, and each performance gave her a chance to grow as an artist. One of the most valuable lessons Maya learned at the academy was the importance of teamwork. Unlike in school, where she often played solo, the academy emphasized collaboration. Students were grouped together to perform duets, trios, and even full ensemble pieces. At first, Maya struggled to adjust. Playing alongside others required listening carefully, adjusting tempo, and blending harmonies seamlessly, skills she hadn't fully developed before. Her breakthrough came during a group project with two other students, Liam, a violinist with a sharp wit, and Priya, a cellist known for her calm demeanor. Together, they were tasked with performing a classical piece that combined all three instruments. Initially, their rehearsals were chaotic. They argued over dynamics, clashed over interpretations, and occasionally missed cues entirely. But as they continued working together, something remarkable happened. They began to trust each other. "Let's try it again," Liam suggested one afternoon after yet another mistake. "This time, let's focus on feeling the music instead of just playing it." Priya nodded in agreement. "We need to connect emotionally, not just technically." Maya listened intently, realizing they were right. From then on, they approached the piece differently, focusing less on perfection and more on expression. By the time they performed for the class, their chemistry was undeniable. The audience applauded enthusiastically, and their instructor praised them for their unity and passion. That experience taught Maya an important lesson. Music wasn't just about individual brilliance. It was about creating something beautiful together. It was a lesson she would carry with her long after leaving the academy. While Maya thrived musically, adjusting to life in the city proved more challenging than she expected. Missing her family was the hardest part. Back home, her mom always made sure dinner was ready when she returned from school, and her dad cracked silly jokes to lighten her mood after tough days. Now, living alone in a small apartment near the academy, Maya sometimes felt lonely. Late at night, When the city lights flickered outside her window, she would call her parents to share her struggles and triumphs. "You're stronger than you think," her mom often reminded her. "Remember why you're doing this. For yourself, for your dreams." Her dad chimed in with his usual humor. "And don't forget to eat properly. No pizza for breakfast." Their support kept her going, but Maya also leaned on her new friends at the academy. Over time, she formed close bonds with classmates like Liam and Priya, who became her unofficial family in the city. They celebrated birthdays, explored local cafes, and even stayed up late discussing their aspirations. Through them, Maya realized that building connections was just as important as pursuing success. As months passed, Maya's confidence soared. She no longer doubted whether she belonged at the academy. Instead, she embraced every opportunity to shine. One such opportunity arose when the academy announced its annual showcase, a high-profile event attended by industry professionals, sponsors, and media representatives. Students competed fiercely for spots on the program, knowing it could launch their careers. When Maya auditioned, she poured her heart into her performance. She chose a piece that reflected her journey, the highs and lows, the doubts and triumphs, and played it with every ounce of emotion she possessed. When the judges announced the final lineup, her name was among those selected. Tears welled up in her eyes as she called her parents to share the news. The night of the showcase arrived, and Maya stood backstage, her palms sweaty and her heart racing. The auditorium was packed, with cameras flashing and murmurs filling the air. As she took her place at the piano, she glanced toward the front row where her family sat proudly. Her mom waved, her dad gave her a thumbs up, and her little brother grinned widely. Then, everything else faded away. The moment her fingers touched the keys, she entered a world of her own. The melody flowed effortlessly, weaving a story of resilience and hope. When the final note echoed through the hall, silence hung in the air for a brief second before erupting into thunderous applause. People stood, cheering and whistling, as tears streamed down Maya's face. After the performance, a representative from a major record label approached her. "Your music moved us deeply," he said. "We'd love to discuss potential opportunities with you." It was surreal, proof that her hard work had paid off beyond her wildest dreams. Yet amid the excitement, Maya remained grounded. She knew fame wasn't the ultimate goal. It was simply a platform to inspire others and share her love for music. Looking back, Maya understood how far she had come, from the shy girl dismissed as a joke to the confident musician standing on stage. Every obstacle she faced, every doubt she overcame, had shaped her into the person she was today. And though her journey was far from over, she felt ready for whatever lay ahead. Little did she know, her greatest adventure was yet to come, an adventure that would take her talents to unimaginable heights and touch lives around the world. After the Academy showcase, Maya's life changed in ways she never imagined. The representative from the record label wasn't just offering empty praise, he was serious about working with her. Within weeks, Maya signed a contract that would allow her to record her first album. It was a dream come true, but it also came with new challenges. Suddenly, she wasn't just a student or a performer. She was an artist navigating the professional music world. The recording process began in a sleek studio located downtown. At first, Maya felt out of place among the high-tech equipment and seasoned producers. She watched as sound engineers adjusted knobs and sliders, capturing every note she played. Her initial recordings were rough. She stumbled over mistakes and struggled to adapt to the pressure of perfection. But with each take, she improved, learning to embrace the process rather than fear it. One producer, a kind man named Mr. Carter, became her mentor during this time. He had worked with famous musicians and understood the insecurities young artists often faced. "Music isn't about being flawless," he told her one evening after a particularly frustrating session. "It's about telling your story. Let the imperfections be part of the beauty." His words resonated deeply with Maya. From then on, she approached the sessions differently, focusing less on technical precision and more on expressing her emotions through the music. By the time the final tracks were completed, she felt proud of what they had created together, an album that reflected her journey, her struggles, and her dreams. While Maya worked tirelessly in the studio, news of her upcoming debut spread quickly. Social media buzzed with excitement as fans eagerly awaited her release date. Local newspapers wrote glowing articles about the young prodigy turned rising star. Even national TV shows extended invitations for interviews. For someone who once felt invisible, the sudden spotlight was overwhelming, but exhilarating. Her first major television appearance was on a popular morning show. Dressed in a bright yellow dress chosen by her mom, "You'll look like sunshine," Maya sat nervously in the green room, waiting for her cue. When the host introduced her, she walked onto the set with a shy smile, waving at the cheering audience. The host asked thoughtful questions about her background, her inspirations, and how she stayed motivated despite challenges. "I've learned that believing in yourself is the most important thing," Maya replied honestly. "Even when people doubt you, you have to keep going because only you know what you're capable of." Her sincerity won over the audience, and by the end of the segment, viewers flooded social media with messages of support. Believe in Yourself trended nationwide, with many sharing their own stories of overcoming adversity. Maya couldn't believe how her music was touching so many lives. As her fame grew, Maya faced a dilemma, balancing her education with her budding career. The academy had been flexible during her recording sessions, but now, with touring opportunities and promotional events piling up, she worried about falling behind academically. Her parents reminded her that education was just as important as her music, urging her to find a way to manage both. With Ms. Patel's guidance, Maya enrolled in online courses that allowed her to continue studying while traveling. Balancing schoolwork and performances wasn't easy, but Maya thrived under the challenge. She carried her textbooks wherever she went, reading between rehearsals and writing essays late at night. Her teachers admired her dedication, often praising her ability to juggle responsibilities without compromising quality. This discipline extended beyond academics. Maya also made it a point to stay connected with her roots. Whenever she returned home, she visited her old middle school to speak with students about perseverance and self-belief. Standing in front of classrooms filled with wide-eyed kids, she shared her story openly, emphasizing that success didn't come overnight. It required hard work, patience, and resilience. "You might face obstacles," she told them during one visit. "People might tell you that you can't do something. But remember, those words don't define you. Only you get to decide how far you'll go." Her talks inspired countless students, especially those who felt marginalized or underestimated. Many wrote letters thanking her for giving them hope, and some even started pursuing their own passions, whether it was art, sports, or science, because of her encouragement. Despite her achievements, Maya remained humble. Fame brought privileges, like invitations to glamorous parties and offers from luxury brands, but she rarely indulged. Instead, she focused on using her platform for good. One cause close to her heart was providing access to music education for underserved communities. Remembering how much joy teaching piano had brought her, she partnered with local organizations to establish free music programs in schools across the country. "These kids deserve the same opportunities I had," Maya explained during a charity event. "Music has the power to heal, inspire, and bring people together. No child should miss out on that because of financial barriers." Her efforts earned widespread recognition. Award ceremonies honored her not only for her musical talent but also for her commitment to making a difference. Accepting these accolades, Maya always thanked her family, friends, and mentors, acknowledging that none of her success would have been possible without their support. By the time her debut album hit stores, Maya had become a household name. Fans lined up outside music shops to purchase copies, and streaming platforms reported record-breaking numbers within hours of its release. Critics praised her unique blend of classical technique and modern flair, calling her a voice of a generation. Yet amid the praise, Maya stayed grounded, reminding herself why she started playing the piano in the first place: to share her love for music with others. Touring proved to be another adventure entirely. Traveling from city to city, she performed in sold-out venues, greeted enthusiastic crowds, and met fans who shared their personal stories with her. One encounter stood out: a teenage girl named Jasmine, who waited hours backstage to meet Maya. Clutching a worn notebook filled with original compositions, Jasmine shyly handed it to her idol. "I want to be like you someday," Jasmine said, tears glistening in her eyes. "Your music helped me believe in myself." Maya hugged her tightly, promising to listen to her songs and offer feedback. That moment reminded her of her own journey, the times when she doubted herself and needed someone to believe in her. Now she realized she had the power to inspire others in the same way. Looking back, Maya marveled at how far she'd come, from the girl dismissed as a joke to the global sensation inspiring millions. Each step of her journey had taught her valuable lessons about courage, determination, and the importance of staying true to oneself. Yet she knew this was only the beginning. There were still stages to conquer, melodies to create, and hearts to touch. And as long as she kept playing, Maya was certain her music would continue changing lives, one note at a time. Maya's journey was far from over. As her fame continued to grow, so did the demands of her career. Concerts, interviews, and collaborations filled her schedule, leaving little room for rest. Yet, despite the whirlwind of activity, Maya never lost sight of what mattered most: her love for music and her desire to make a difference. Each new opportunity brought fresh challenges, but also moments of profound joy and fulfillment. One of the highlights of her career came when she received an invitation to perform at Carnegie Hall, one of the most prestigious venues in the world. For any musician, playing at Carnegie Hall was a dream come true, a symbol of reaching the pinnacle of success. When Maya first heard the news, she could hardly believe it. "Me? At Carnegie Hall?" she whispered to herself, her voice trembling with disbelief. But as the reality sank in, excitement replaced her initial shock. This was her chance to share her story with an even wider audience, to inspire people who might never have heard of her otherwise. Preparing for the performance required months of intense practice. Maya chose a mix of classical pieces and original compositions, each carefully selected to reflect her journey. She poured her heart into every rehearsal, determined to deliver a performance that would resonate deeply with the audience. Her family flew in from their hometown to support her, filling the front row with familiar faces. On the night of the concert, Maya stood backstage, her hands shaking slightly as she adjusted her dress. The weight of the moment pressed down on her, but she reminded herself of all the obstacles she had overcome to get here. Taking a deep breath, she stepped onto the stage. The applause began before she even sat at the piano. Under the bright lights, Maya scanned the crowd, catching glimpses of proud smiles and eager eyes. Then, as her fingers touched the keys, everything else faded away. The music flowed effortlessly, carrying her emotions and memories into the air. By the time she played the final note, tears streamed down her cheeks, not just hers, but those of many in the audience as well. When the last chord echoed through the hall, the room erupted into a standing ovation that seemed to go on forever. It was a moment Maya would never forget, a validation of her hard work, talent, and resilience. After Carnegie Hall, Maya's influence reached new heights. Media outlets hailed her as a trailblazer, not only for her musical achievements but also for breaking barriers as a young black woman in a predominantly white industry. She became a role model for aspiring musicians, particularly girls of color who often felt excluded or underestimated. Letters poured in from fans around the world, sharing how her story inspired them to pursue their dreams despite societal expectations. To honor this connection with her audience, Maya launched a global initiative called Keys to Dreams. The program aimed to provide free music education and instruments to underprivileged children worldwide. Partnering with nonprofits, schools, and corporations, Maya traveled to different countries, setting up workshops and donating resources. In rural villages, makeshift classrooms buzzed with excitement as kids learned to play simple melodies on donated keyboards. In urban centers, community centers hosted recitals where students showcased their progress. Everywhere she went, Maya emphasized the transformative power of music. Music is more than notes and rhythms, she told a group of wide-eyed students in Kenya during one visit. It's a way to express yourself, to heal, and to connect with others. Never stop believing in your ability to create something beautiful. Her efforts earned international acclaim. Governments and organizations recognized her contributions, awarding her honors such as humanitarian awards and honorary degrees. Yet, Maya remained humble, always deflecting praise back to the communities she served. "I'm just doing what I can to help," she often said. The real heroes are the teachers, parents, and kids working hard every day to make their dreams come true. Despite her success, Maya faced criticism from some corners. A few critics dismissed her charitable work as a publicity stunt, accusing her of using social causes to boost her image. Others argued that her music lacked depth compared to traditional classical performers. At first, these comments hurt. Maya spent sleepless nights wondering if she was truly making a difference or simply chasing recognition. But eventually she realized that no matter what she did, there would always be detractors. What mattered was staying true to her values and continuing to lift others up. Her resolve was tested further when a health issue forced her to take a step back from performing. During a routine checkup, doctors discovered a minor but persistent problem with her wrist, likely caused by years of intense practice. They advised her to rest and avoid strenuous activities for several months. For someone whose life revolved around playing the piano, the diagnosis felt devastating. Would she ever be able to perform again? How could she continue inspiring others if she couldn't even play? Instead of giving in to despair, Maya used the break to focus on other aspects of her career. She wrote essays about the importance of mental and physical health for artists, urging young musicians to prioritize self-care. She collaborated with composers to create sheet music for beginners, ensuring that learning remained accessible even without advanced skills. And she spent hours mentoring aspiring pianists online, offering guidance and encouragement from afar. Slowly but surely, Maya's wrist healed, and she returned to the stage stronger than ever. Her absence had only heightened anticipation, and fans greeted her comeback performances with overwhelming enthusiasm. One fan held up a sign that read, "You're unstoppable," a sentiment that resonated deeply with Maya. She knew now that setbacks were part of the journey, not the end of it. As her career expanded, Maya sought ways to innovate and experiment. Tired of being pigeonholed as a classical pianist, she began exploring other genres, blending jazz, pop, and electronic elements into her compositions. Collaborations with contemporary artists introduced her to new audiences, while her experimental albums pushed boundaries and challenged conventions. Critics initially questioned her shift, but fans embraced her evolution, praising her versatility and creativity. One collaboration stood out, a duet with a renowned hip-hop artist named Marcus King. Their song, titled "Rise Together," combined Maya's intricate piano melodies with Marcus's powerful lyrics about overcoming adversity. The track became an instant hit, topping charts and earning millions of streams. Behind the scenes, the two bonded over shared experiences of facing racism and doubters early in their careers. Performing the song live, they fed off each other's energy, creating a synergy that electrified audiences. Through projects like these, Maya proved that music transcended boundaries. It united people across cultures, backgrounds, and generations. Whether she was playing Mozart in a concert hall or jamming with modern artists in a studio, her passion remained unchanged. Music was her language, and she spoke it fluently. By this point, Maya had achieved more than she ever imagined. She had performed on the biggest stages, inspired countless lives, and left an indelible mark on the music industry. Yet she refused to see herself as finished. There were still dreams to chase, melodies to compose, and hearts to touch. As she looked ahead, Maya envisioned a future filled with endless possibilities. Maybe she'd write a memoir chronicling her journey. Or perhaps she'd open her own music school, nurturing the next generation of artists. Whatever path she chose, one thing was certain: Maya's story was far from over. Every note she played carried the promise of something greater. Legacy built not on fame but on love, perseverance, and the belief that everyone deserves a chance to shine. Maya's life had transformed in ways she could never have predicted. From the shy girl dismissed as a joke to an international icon inspiring millions, her journey was proof that dreams could come true with hard work and determination. Yet even as accolades piled up and opportunities expanded, Maya stayed rooted in her values: gratitude, humility, and a deep commitment to helping others. Her final chapter wasn't about resting on her laurels. It was about leaving behind a legacy that would endure long after she stepped off the stage. One of Maya's most ambitious projects came when she decided to open her own music school, the Harmony Center. Located in her hometown, the school aimed to provide affordable music education to children from all walks of life. The building itself was a blend of modern design and cozy charm, with large windows that let sunlight stream into practice rooms and classrooms. Inside, every corner buzzed with creativity, from toddlers banging happily on toy drums to teenagers composing original songs on synthesizers. What set the Harmony Center apart was its philosophy: music for everyone, regardless of background or financial situation. Scholarships covered tuition for families in need, while volunteer teachers donated their time to mentor students. Maya often visited the center herself, sitting down with kids to share stories and offer advice. Music isn't just about notes, she told them during one session. It's about finding your voice and using it to make the world brighter. Her favorite part of the week was Friday evening recitals, where students showcased what they had learned. Parents filled the small auditorium, beaming with pride as their children performed. Some pieces were simple, like nursery rhymes played hesitantly on recorders, while others were complex piano solos that left the audience breathless. After each performance, Maya stood at the front clapping enthusiastically and reminding everyone that progress, not perfection, was the goal. As years passed, the Harmony Center grew into more than just a music school. It became a hub for community events, workshops, and cultural exchanges. Local artists hosted exhibitions in the lobby, poets read their work during open mic nights, and dance troupes practiced routines in the multi-purpose hall. Maya loved seeing how the space brought people together, fostering connections through art. She often joked that the only thing missing was a cafe, though she secretly considered adding one someday. Despite her busy schedule running the center, Maya continued performing and creating music. Her style evolved over time, blending traditional techniques with bold experimentation. One album featured collaborations with musicians from around the world, incorporating instruments like the sitar, djembe, and panflute. Another explored themes of identity and belonging, drawing inspiration from her own experiences as a Black woman navigating different worlds. Critics praised her willingness to take risks, calling her a visionary who refuses to be boxed in, but perhaps Maya's greatest achievement was the impact she had on young people. Countless students from the Harmony Center went on to pursue careers in music, theater, and other creative fields. Others credited her teachings for boosting their confidence and helping them overcome challenges outside the classroom. A former student named Jamal once wrote to her saying, "You taught me that I can do anything if I believe in myself, even if no one else does. Because of you, I'm studying engineering now. Thank you for showing me my worth." Such messages reminded Maya why she started this journey in the first place, not for fame or fortune, but to inspire others to dream big and chase their passions. Maya's influence extended far beyond her hometown. As her reputation grew, she became a sought-after speaker at conferences, universities, and global summits. On stage, she spoke candidly about topics like resilience, diversity in the arts, and the importance of representation. Her speeches resonated deeply, especially with young people who saw themselves in her story. At one event, a teenager approached her afterward, tears streaming down her face. "I didn't think someone like me could succeed," she said softly. "But hearing your story makes me feel like maybe I can too." These interactions reinforced Maya's belief in the power of storytelling. To ensure her message reached even wider audiences, she published a memoir titled Notes of Hope: Finding My Voice Through Music. The book chronicled her journey from childhood struggles to international stardom, offering insights and lessons along the way. Readers praised its honesty and vulnerability, with many calling it a lifeline during tough times. Schools added it to their curriculums and book clubs discussed its themes late into the night. As Maya entered her 30s, she began thinking about the future, not just hers, but the world's. Climate change, inequality, and political unrest weighed heavily on her mind. Determined to use her platform for good, she launched a new initiative called Harmony for Humanity. The project combined music and activism, organizing benefit concerts to raise funds for causes like environmental conservation, education, and healthcare. Artists from various genres joined forces, proving that collaboration could create meaningful change. One particularly memorable concert took place in New York City's Central Park. Thousands of people gathered under the stars, united by a shared love of music and a desire to make a difference. Maya performed alongside legends like Stevie Wonder and Alicia Keys, their voices blending seamlessly as fireworks lit up the sky. By the end of the night, they had raised millions for disaster relief efforts worldwide. Maya stood on stage, overwhelmed by the outpouring of support. "This is what happens when we come together," she told the cheering crowd. "We can move mountains." Though Maya remained active in her career, she also made time for personal milestones. She married Liam, her longtime friend and collaborator, in a quiet ceremony surrounded by close family and friends. Together they adopted 2 children, a boy named Elijah and a girl named Amara, whom they raised with the same values of kindness, curiosity, and perseverance. Watching her kids grow up brought Maya immense joy, reminding her of the importance of nurturing the next generation. By the time Maya turned 40, she had achieved everything she had ever dreamed of, and more. Her name was etched in history, books, her music streamed by millions, and her school thriving beyond her wildest expectations. Yet she knew her work wasn't done. There were still barriers to break, hearts to touch, and melodies to compose. As she sat at the piano one evening composing a new piece inspired by her grandchildren, Maya smiled to herself. Life, she realized, was a symphony, a constant interplay of highs and lows, triumphs and trials. And she was grateful to have played her part so fully. When asked during a final interview what advice she would give to aspiring musicians, Maya paused thoughtfully before answering. "Never let anyone tell you that you don't belong," she said firmly. "Your voice matters. Your dreams matter. And no matter how hard things get, keep playing. Because somewhere out there, someone needs to hear your song." With those words, Maya closed the chapter on her extraordinary life, knowing that her legacy would live on through the countless lives she had touched. Her story wasn't just about music. It was about hope, resilience, and the unshakable belief that anyone, no matter where they start, can rise above doubt and shine brightly in the world.